What's up, my pilots? We're back playing Let's Battle Blaze Black. That's a lot of B's. We're here on Route 4, just heading north from Castelia City. And let's take a look at the Pokemon we got this time around. We got still, of course, our Knackrack leading the party. With our Amulet Coin, I like to do that. And then Daedalus, soon followed by Typhlosion, Gigalith, and Duat is hanging out in the backfield. Not a whole lot of change from the last battle, only a couple trainers in between, I believe. Maybe none in between, actually. But it's time for another battle with Cheren. He just loiters out here the whole time that you're in Castelia City, and then once you finally beat the gym leader, you try and leave and walk past him like you could before, and he suddenly challenges you, and it's like, what, dude? Really? But it's another rotation battle. We haven't had one of these since the first gym leader. In fact, there haven't been any in the game since the first gym leader. So it's kind of neat. We start off with an initial advantage because Knackrack is going to do just fine in that Sandstorm. Of course, my Knackrack has rough skin and not Sand Veil, so his evasion will remain unchanged. And things are off to kind of a shitty start when his Kadabra uses a Reflect, since my Daedalus and Knackrack are both physical attackers. I decided to just play the game and switch to special attack with Knackrack, even though it's not the best. It's still, I think it must be at least better than half as bad, which is what you would get trying to use physical attack through Reflect. Who knows? So I think I'm going to switch out here and use a Pokemon that actually has a special attack. That way we can avoid that Reflect detraction. So our Typhlosion has got pretty nice special attack. His nature actually even increases it. So pretty friggin' sweet there. But still not doing too much to Kadabra because his special defense is pretty decent. So we're just going to keep it up, keep laying it down. Yeah, not too effective on Boldore, and Boldore is going to put on an Iron Defense, which sort of seemed redundant at the time with Reflect already up, but that Boldore is essentially immune to physical attacks now. So I'm going to switch to Psychic-type attack, because I figure he's not going to put the Kadabra right back in. It's sort of weird trying to predict when he's going to switch in these sorts of battles and when they're not. I really don't know what determines when they switch, because he was out there with a type advantage with Boldore, and he switched to Staravia, but Staravia doesn't have an advantage over either of my other Pokemon, so I'm not really sure why he would think. So it's not like he was thinking I was going to switch to one of them and wanted to play the Staravia as a trump. I don't know, he would have been fine just leaving Boldore in, and it would do fine against most of my Pokemon. I'm not really sure what the logic is for that sort of thing, but yeah. There were a few times in this match where I tried to predict whether or not they were going to switch, and it was sort of weird. And this one I get screwed over because I forgot. I was thinking Knackrack was going to resist the Water-type move. I forgot that Dragon types, I believe, they actually resist Fire, Grass, and Electric, but I can't remember now if it's that they don't resist Water, or if it's that he took double damage because he's part Ground type. The whole type advantages thing to me, it was just like a huge complicated game of rock, paper, scissors, and I have a hell of a time keeping track of it most of the time. I can only remember the basic ones, like the whole water, fire, grass thing is pretty easy for me, and then I remember the only other type that does the double the water is electric, so that ties the four of them together. But then you start getting into the more complicated stuff, like how does Bug interact with, something else? Like the fact that Rock to double the Bug came as a complete surprise to me in the Berg battle. I didn't know that, because you hardly ever use Bug types. In most games, they're only at the first couple routes, and they're pretty crappy. They just don't ever learn very good moves. They have very mediocre stats even when they're fully evolved. So it's a little bit like, whatever. Alright, so he's switching into his Servine. I think he's only got, these are his last 3 Pokemon here. He's already taken out, I think, 2 of mine, I believe. His Aerial Ace finished off my Duat. That Duat wasn't really meant to do much anyway. And we switch right into a type disadvantage here, isn't that just wonderful? Typhlosion is definitely my favorite Fire-type starter. I gotta say that out of the various Fire-type starters, Typhlosion is definitely the coolest. Like, just mostly because it starts off as Cyndaquil, which is just friggin' adorable, like more adorable than the other fire type starters. Wait, and like really, when you're looking at the first generation of your starters, your criterion is adorability. Just how cute is that little Pokemon? And by the time they get to the 3rd gen, it's about how good their stats are, you know, or not 3rd gen, but the 3rd evolutionary form of the starter. It's more about how good their stats are and whether or not they have a good moveset and stuff like that, or just how badass they are. So you sort of have to have this is like ride this fence between a really cute first form and a really badass final form. And I think the Typhlosion evolutionary line is the best at that out of all of the. I think the only one that would even come close would be like a Squirtle, maybe. Because Blastoise is certainly a badass, but I don't really know if Squirtle is as cute as Cyndaquil is. And then you have to look at the intermediate form, because you use them for about 20 levels, I suppose, and that's probably the majority of the game for a typical run, because the levels aren't particularly high. See there, I actually predicted he was going to switch into Servine, so that fire type did double damage. Awesome. And Quilava just looks so cool. Like, I don't even know what it's supposed to be based on, but it's like a... I don't know. It's like a mongoose or something, but with fire on it. It just looks so awesome. And then Typhlosion is just like a big fiery bear thing. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, that is our battle with Cheren. Not too challenging. I will see you guys in the next battle.